It's the Jooos! It's the Jooos! The Jooos! The Jooos! It's the Jooos! Okay, serious now. Is the JQ valid? And do I believe in it? Well, here's my answer, and here's why I think it's kind of full of shit. So, I have a working theory on this. First of all, yes, the whole JQ thing, like, I look at some of the Jewish individuals in the world, and yeah, they are doing some pretty sus stuff. I'm not going to deny that. They are doing some pretty sus stuff, but then again, a lot of people, whether they're Jewish or not, are doing a lot of sus stuff too. So it's like, okay, is there really conspiracy going on here? Well, yeah, of course there's a conspiracy going on here. Of course there is. Like, everybody's got a conspiracy going on. There's more than just the JQ going on, if there is one, as per described by these white nationalists. There's all other kinds of conspiracies going on by all kinds of different people. This is what people do. They conspire to do something. Okay? This is like, yes, of course there's conspiracies going on. Not even going to deny that. Now, in regards to the Jews, however, well, there's some historical significance to this too, because there's been a lot of animosity towards Jews going back to fucking medieval times. Hell, further than that, I think the Romans were the first people to really persecute Jews like that. You know, the Romans, they launched entire campaigns down into Jerusalem to you know, round up these people and like stomp their religion out and this and that. So I mean, there's significant historical precedent to go off of this, and you know, but here's what I think is really going on here. So, you know, back in medieval times, you know, the Jews were the ones who were the bankers and this and that, because, you know, contemporary white European, my Aryan white European peoples, you know, they didn't want to do usury because it went against the Christian faith. It was considered a sin to use usury or to engage in banking activities, like some shit like that. It was a sin. So they you know, they allowed the Jews to do this stuff. Well, if you watch my previous video, you know I said, like, fucking Christianity, Abrahamic religions, that God doesn't exist. So now, being against loans, debt, you know, usury, that type of stuff, you're basically being against making money. Do you hate making money? Because apparently the medieval Europeans, they hated making money. So what ended up happening as a result of the Jews being the ones to perform these services was that the Jews are the ones who became rich and powerful off of it. And, you know, the medieval times, that was a long, long time ago. So, you know, centuries later, of course, by the time of the modern day, you know, these Jews are going to have what you would call generational wealth. And people with generational wealth, it's practically impossible that these kinds of people aren't going to have a lot of power and influence in the world. People who have generational wealth, power and influence is just a given. I mean, that's inevitable. So, the way I see it, all this JQ stuff really is, and what it boils down to, is these, like, a lot of the people who believe in this stuff are white nationalists and alt-right types of people. I think what it is just a bit of sour grapes. It really is just a bunch of sour grapes, because the Jews, they were able to use these things to create generational wealth. And now as a result, they have disproportionate power despite being a very small percentage of whatever population they exist in. Okay, that's just the fact of the matter. And Jews, they do tend to have some pretty left-leaning tendencies. Let's just put it that way. And well, they've got the power and influence to push through in the world what they think is the right answer. And they do tend to be left-leaning, so of course it's gonna look like they're doing all this shit on purpose. But that's just how it is. I think this is just a bunch of sour grapes on the part of most white folks. I noticed that, you know, as somebody who grew up in the black community, black people tend to blame their troubles on white people. And I think what this boils down to is the fact that white people have more money than them. That's what it seems to boil down to, because there's, especially nowadays, there's no logical way you could really sit here and believe that you as a black person are being held back by white people, keeping you from doing stuff. I don't think that's broadly the answer. And white people, I've hung around enough white people to know for certain, I've been in the white community a good little bit, to know that they blame a lot of their troubles on Jews. So I think with this, part of what this boils down to is that, hey, this group has more money than me, so you're responsible for all my troubles and all my problems. That's part of it. But the other part of it is sour grapes, because again, your ancestors sat up there and allowed this religion that was fake, a God that was fake. They allowed themselves to be cucked by this, to not use usury, to not do banking. Okay, so you outsourced it to the Jews and they got rich and powerful off of it. Okay. So your ancestors made the wrong decision there. Your ancestors outsourced a powerful money-making tool to another group of people who then did the logical thing to grow rich and powerful off of it. Okay, so don't sit here and be mad about that. The Jews are the ones with all the power as a result of that now. Okay, they've got generational wealth. You're not going to dislodge that. Not very easily, you're not. Now, I think that's really what the whole JQ boils down to, is a mix of you've got more money than me, so you're responsible for all my problems, and a mix of sour grapes. Don't sit here and be mad that your ancestors make the stupid decision to follow a stupid religion that was fake, and to sit up here and let the Jews get rich and powerful because your ancestors could have did those services and done those business ventures and gotten rich and powerful off of it. They didn't. They outsourced it to another group who was willing to do it. So, if you're going to be mad at anybody, why don't you be mad at your ancestors? Now, here's the final nail in the coffin to the whole JQ thing and why I think it's really fake. Because the JQ, let's say the Jews are conspiring to do all this and that, and they're gonna destroy human progress or whatever through their leftist politics. Okay, well, there's something that this whole theory doesn't account for. The JQ doesn't account for China. Okay, China, and future video coming on that, by the way. China is a civilization state. That is a completely different human civilization that arose separately from the West. Whatever kind of influence and hierarchical, pecking order you think may be going on in the West and may be getting applied globally, trust me, buddy, that, like the Jews, whatever you think the Jews are doing in the West, they're not doing that shit in China. That shit's not flying in China. That is a completely different civilization. They have completely different philosophies. They have completely different customs and things that they value. That is a completely separate civilization. Okay? And I highly doubt the Jews would have any sway over China. I highly doubt, because the Chinese are a very insular people. If you're not Chinese, they don't give a fuck what you're about ultimately. They're looking to exploit you. Okay, all these Western entrepreneurs and business owners that went and did business in China, a lot of those people are finding out what it's all about. The Chinese let them come over there. Yeah, they'll let you come over here and make money, but they're gonna steal your intellectual property. They're gonna, you're not gonna infiltrate them. You're not gonna sway them. Like America had the audacity to believe that opening up global trade to the Chinese was going to result in the Chinese adopting our values and becoming less authoritarian. That's not what happened, because they were so arrogant, too arrogant in fact, to account for the fact that China is a completely separate civilization who does not, on a fundamental level, value the same things that the West values. Okay? So, there's a massive hole in the whole JQ thing when it comes to China. Because in order for them to do what you say they're going to do, rob humanity of their progress and institute a Judeo-Commie system, well, they've got to take over China before they can do that. Because China on its own could sabotage all of that. Okay? And I really don't think they've infiltrated China. As a matter of fact, I know they haven't infiltrated China. because I know how Chinese culture works and I know how insular they are and how they operate. If you're not Chinese, you're not going to come in there and just do what the hell you think you're going to be able to do. You're not going to influence them. You're not going to sway them. Okay, money doesn't sway the Chinese. The way the Chinese operate and the way we operate is fundamentally different. Over here in the West, you get the money and power comes. In China, you get the power first by joining the government and the bureaucracy. And then the money comes. That's how it works in China. That's why you can't infiltrate China the same way that they're infiltrating us. So, until somebody comes up with a working theory to explain how China operates in this whole JQ thing, okay, I will continue to think that the JQ is just a stupid bullshit cope that a lot of these white nationalists and alt-right trolls come up with to try to explain away their ancestors' stupid decision to be hamstrung by a fake religion. But that's my hot take on it. And you can agree to disagree, but this is part of the gold pill. You know, I like to have different takes and takes that people haven't considered. You know, I might even be pretty much right. I haven't come across any evidence to suggest that I'm wrong about this. You know, I've talked to a lot of different people who believe in this. None of their arguments, like many of these guys are smart too. None of their arguments has compelled me to believe that this is what's going on. That the Jews are really, you know, this and that, and they're plotting something and they're conspiring. Lots of different people conspire to do a lot of different things. Even if it was true, it wouldn't be just them. So again, I think the JQ is bullshit. Until you come up with a working theory that explains China, I think it's full of shit. And I think it's mostly just the case that people are doing what people do. Particularly people who have generational wealth. But I'm going to cut it short here and stop rambling. This has been Emperor Dion. Take the black pill. The black pill is a pathway to many truths. But when you consider my pill, you can start to peel back the curtains and see through the lies and bullshit and the narratives that people try to push to want to explain away, you know, their own inadequacies and try to demonize certain groups of people for no fucking good reason. Anyways, this has been Emperor Dion. Peace.